Alright, we gotta do a down and dirty video. Got this Rickter XFR here. We're gonna build it. Go through the process quick. It should be pretty painless. It's already been built a couple times before. I got it from a friend. Got pretty much everything together. We're gonna get ready for Daytona Freeride. Next week we're leaving Monday, but it is a pretty sweet ski. Had an XFR before, but ended up selling it for an XFS. But I did. I love the XFS, but I regretted selling the XFR. That's just so much fun. So we're gonna move it and start getting to work on it. Alright, I'll show you where we stand on this ski. I got a bunch of parts here, but this was originally had like a, I don't know, DAS 950 or 1000 or something in it, and a 148 pump. But so it only has a 148 millimeter pump shoe. So to keep it easy, I'm just gonna put a 144 and an OEM. We're gonna get it on the water, bring it to Daytona, have some fun with it. It's pretty nice condition, but it's pretty much all set up. So there's still a ton of stuff in here. Nice hood latch. And in the engine bay, like I said, it's pretty much set up pretty well. Motor mount's already there. Exhaust tube. Probably replace that turf with something that matches, better color. Need a battery box. There's a cold fusion mount in the back. You know, water, pisser fittings, bilge line, steering cable, throttle cable, pole setup. It's kind of crusty, but I might replace that. Overall though, it should be pretty easy. So I was looking at all the parts. Out of control. Alright, so we got a water box, start stop switch, a B-pipe, B-pipe hardware, manifold, got a 144 OEM pump, but has some strip splines that a friend had a problem this summer, so I gave him a different working pump. So I gotta replace that shaft and the bearings, and the impellers, like some scat impeller, I forget. We got a seal, intake grate, mid shaft, and then for the motor, got a, I think it's a ported 760 here. I've had it on the shelf for a while, but it's got electronics, starter, carbs, all set up for a B-pipe with the coupler. So I should be able to throw that together in there. Should be pretty easy. So first things first, one of these shafts, I gotta measure them to see which, but a new drive shafts there. And let's see. Yeah, I think one of these pump bearing sets. That'll be good. Yeah, we'll see. Should go together a lot better than that did. I just didn't take any time on that. Sorry. Part 2 is coming. We'll see. I gotta determine what pump and stuff I'm gonna put in that. But I got an OEM 155 shaft coming on the way. I gotta get in that. So, but these will match when they're all done. Should be pretty good. I'm excited for this. Excited to get down to Daytona. One thing I don't have really is like a trim 144 trim setup. So I found this reduction nozzle. Yeah, I gotta find a steering nozzle, but pretty nice OEM pump. Stuff like some newer Superjet. But pump install, intake grate, you know, steering cables there. Should be pretty good. The I did sell the rear sponsons like an idiot. I shouldn't ever sold those, but Corey needed some, so I sold them to him. And That's all right. I got some, made a post on Facebook, and Blake came through and is sending me some sponsons, so that's awesome. Pretty excited for that. It'll help in the surf a lot. But overall, really nice tray. Turf is still really good. It's got a front foothold. It's got a blank there. I don't know if I'll have a... I think I have a bilge switch part of this setup. Yeah, I think it's over here. Oh yeah, here we go. So I'll get this crazy bilge set up. Dual bilge with a connector on it. We'll see. I'm going to see what it hooks up to. Too much stuff. Alright, wish me luck. Alright, first thing, get this pump figured out. I just kind of had it mocked up here, but it's easiest, I think, if you take your wearing off. Again, just sit down there. The impeller goes opposite the way you think it would, so it's reverse threaded. Just be careful with this. Sometimes you can slice your fingers on these blades. They can be pretty sharp. Again, it probably won't be this easy normally. I just thread this on earlier when I was mocking things up. Alright, now gotta remove the pump cone. 10mm bolts here. There's some old goo in there. Oh, it smells so pleasant. Alright, now you got this shaft. It's going to come out the back. So, grab a 2x4. Alright, so then, I don't know if you can see how that looks. Alright, so nothing much to it. Seal. Boy, it is not moving. Let me put on some gloves. Well, press is out fine. There's got one shaft with the bearing there, one bearing still in there. We'll have to press that out. Alright, we're going to take this shaft and we're just going to stick it outside for a bit. Pretty cold out. Let's let it sit there for a bit. Alright, so we're just going to slip it right over this side. Boom, just like that. Piece of cake. That's pretty easy. Now we need to put the back one on. Or we put this in the pump first, I can't remember. I think we put the back one on, grease the whole thing, and then put in the pump. If this is, yeah, it's already starting to bind together. That's good. Alright, heat up that bearing. We'll go get the shaft from outside and put it together. Alright, put it together now. Ready? Alright, went on this time. Good. I like doing that hot and cold method. This one's cold now. This one's hot. Okay, we'll heat it up. Just trying this method, get the heat down. Should be pretty easy. You can just feel the heat coming out. We'll see if it gets pretty hot. Probably pretty noisy, but we're gonna take that. We're gonna stick it here, and then put the shaft in it. Hopefully it'll go all the way through. If there is anything extra, we use the press and press it in. Now we can check out the bearing is against that front seating surface. And we put get that grease in. We can pack this full of grease in that pump cone, put the pump cone on, clean everything up. Oh, I think I may have screwed up. I should have put the seals in before I put the shaft in, because I could have pressed them in here. Now I gotta see if I can put them with grease, get them over the shaft, get them pressed in with the shaft in there. We'll see if it works. Little grease on there for corrosion protection. Nah, just kidding. Alright, that's about it. So, I mean, check it. It rotates freely. Sometimes they're like really stuck and really stiff, but they'll soften up when you ride it. So, but otherwise, seals are in. The gold side out. Pump was full of grease, jam-packed. You saw that. New bearings. Put the impeller on now. Let's do that and make sure that fits. Alright, let's put this pump cone on. Brian showed me a trick. If you have trouble getting it on, just cut a little slit in these. It'll make for getting it in a bit easier. I'll just lube it with a little bit of. So we got our pump cone. It's not a pump cone, it's just a rubber cone. Alright, cut like a little triangle there. Let's do 3 of them total. Alright, we're just going to try to warm this up a bit, make it a bit more malleable. I don't know if it'll work or not, but it's super tight, so got a skinnier screwdriver. We got our secret cuts in there. Let's see if it works. Trimmed it down just a little bit, if you can see that, just to try to reduce some of that stuff. Not super happy how I had to do that, but it's around the shaft. It's not going to impede performance at all. It'll stay in there. It's not coming out. Alright, how's that? Smooth. Looks straight. Not a lot of gap in between the impeller, the housing. Set up for dual cooling. So I get the stock and then the one on the port side. The little siphon tube is plugged, and the little pisser thing is not drilled out. I think it's an old one. It looks pretty good. Alright, time to put it in the ski. That's how you rebuild the pump if you need to. Alright, I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but before I put the pump in, what I like to do is take the pump to hole bolts and thread them in, and just I think it's very important for the pump to kind of do test fits of everything prior to putting it all together. So before you put your pump in, make sure all your pump bolts go in. And especially with Richters, I don't know if it's the same way with other holes, but they only go in so deep. And then if you, you know, you can hear it when it stops, and you can actually bust through fiberglass. Like, so sometimes you have to. I use OEM pump bolts. They're nice because they have the lock washer and a washer all built in, and they can't come off. You know, so you can get these for about $7 a piece. Definitely worth ordering. But thread all your bolts in and see how far they go in, and just kind of get that as a mental model before you put your pump in. So I threaded all mine in. All my inserts were good, and sometimes like if you use bolts from a couch, they're too long, so I've had to cut them off with a cutting wheel. I've already tested all these; they all work. But I like to use OEM hardware. I've never had one fall out. I've had some other non-OEM hardware fall out before, so I only use OEM hardware with the lock washer and the washer built in. And so then I put it in the pump, just kind of loosely mocked it up, kind of tightened up the back bolts. See where I sit. The front is pretty much connected, and you can kind of see through that shaft up there. It looks like the shaft is kind of low in the tube, so take a look at should have a better light, but yeah, it looks like the shaft is sitting low, so I'll use my pump alignment tool, and we'll need to shim the rear ears, and you can pretty much use any shim for that. We'll get that set up and show you how that's done. Alright, we'll grab a pump seal. You can get OEM 144 pump seals, otherwise for 155 if you get an aftermarket WSM or something. And the pump seal, I put the flat side on the pump So if you look here, the pump seal, got all on there, be a little lip there. You may need to connect your cooling fittings now too. So I'll have to get some clamps for those. See how that goes. Alright, we're going to install these cooling lines. This is just a 1/2 inch ID radiator hose. Get it at auto parts stores, Fleet Farm, whatever. Got some hose cutters. Makes the job easy. Just kind of do a mock-up. Alright, got two new hoses there. I got the trim tube blocked off since I'm not using it. Put a plug in it. Well, I put a plug on each side just to hopefully keep water out of there. Alright, so now we have the pump in, but I don't know if it's aligned yet, or so I see that it's all put together. Cooling lines are just a tad short, but it'll work. Now I tighten everything down because you don't know what your alignment is until everything's tight. So I'll see what the alignment is and then shim accordingly. I don't know, it might be hard to see there, the light. But where the shaft is there is not indication of alignment. We'll put that tool on and see where it is, but to get a good idea, it looks like it's not too far off, but we'll see here. So it looks like the up and down is pretty good. I think we just need to move it a bit to the side. So there's a little bit pointing that way, so you're gonna try to move it this way. Alright, after a lot of monkeying with the pump, it's gonna take a lot of jimmying around. But it is darn close. It is just hitting on this side just a bit. But that's as good as I can get it. Alright, so let's see where we stand now. So we got the pump in, cooling lines hooked up. We got to get a steering nozzle yet. The pump's in, aligned, got the mid shaft. Put the mid shaft in, and then like it's actually pretty close. We got the motor mounts. I think should already be in a good spot. Got the motor here. Let's just take a look at this. I really haven't looked it over yet. Some spark plugs. It is ported. I knew that. Pistons look good. So it has 38mm carbs. Let's get primer hooked up. It's got this little doodad for the mid shaft bearing housing. Oh, it's got bolts for the coupler cover. That's nice. Full electronics, MSD enhancer, commander head. Looks pretty good. I'll take it off this mounting plate. We'll throw it in and See how it lines up.
Hey, stay tuned for part 2. We'll get this finished up. We'll show you how it did in Daytona Freeride. And here's the finished product of it, but it is coming along. Like, share, subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.